All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Azubu Crystal Cup. This is going to be our third event. Very excited to be here. And with me today, I have my super awesome co-caster.
Well, my name is TG Popples. Happy to be here.
And we are about to get this thing rocking and rolling. We are in Champ Select. And two brand new teams, actually, facing it off right now.
We have frogdong and
Frogdong and what would Popples do? Which something tells me you have a little influence over this team here.
they have asked for a coach, and that is all I am. They have given a tribute to me. I'm very thankful.
They have decided that you would be the Popples that they needed and deserved.
That is indeed the case.
All right. Well, we are getting into the bans here. There are no chat bans. Chat bans have almost been completely omitted from Dominion at this point. So, really, really awesome to see that.
It's had an interesting effect on the current metagame.
We've been seeing a lot more, I don't want to say OP, but stronger champions getting through. Oh, and a Gnar ban, actually. I was really excited to see him.
You have a Zyra first pick, very strong, a lot of zoning potential, high damage. Very, very good at defending points.
Mm. Alright, so we do have that Zyra pick. She's going to be incredibly good at zoning people off of those points. Has amazing counter-initiate as well as initiate if she can land that good route. But Maokai was taken off the table, so number one tank, goodbye. Talon was taken off. Don't know if anyone on the other team actually even plays a Talon. Talon being one of the better assassins in Dominion. Some would argue he's incredibly overpowered, but everyone thinks he's pretty alright where he's at.
All the stealth champions just happen to be very highly disruptive. They make you buy vision items, which are pretty crappy currently in Dominion in their current iterations, and nobody really wants to do that, as we see Akali being highlighted over.
Yeah, Akali and Jayce are being highlighted, Jayce being that incredible, like, just amazing poke with the EQ combo blasting through the gate there. And then once he gets that Infinity Edge and he levels up that W, he is going to be three-shotting people to death. So let's hope that your fan club here can finish this off before that time comes around.
We'll see what they end up rounding out the rest of their draft with.
And yeah, that is actually interesting that Gnar was disabled, because if I remember correctly, I think he's banned from the whole tournament just because he's brand new. So that makes me even more sad, because I really, really wanted to see a Gnar in competitive.
Gnar's a very interesting champion. There's a lot of people trying to build him build him tanky, build him glass damage. You really need a mix. The thing about Gnar is he has 1600 base health at level 18 in his range form, and it's so super squishy.
Yeah.
Compared to his melee form, where he loses a whole second's worth of attack speed, but gains 800 health in both. It's quite an interesting champion design that Riot has come up with, and he's very, very fun to play.
He's very, very, like, squishy in that ranged form, but I don't know, because then if you try to build for damage, your ranged form is going to rock, and your bigger form isn't going to do as well. It's kind of a toss-up. I haven't gotten a chance to play him myself yet.
We see Leona+Kassadin being the rest of the picks for Popples we trust, and it's very interesting to see Kassadin in his nerf state being picked up, especially with Zyra, considering that they're going to be very, very, very AP heavy now.
Yeah, there is a lot of magic damage coming out from In Popples We Trust, and yeah, like you just said, Kassadin has received multiple nerfs throughout the time of Dominion, some of those even carrying over to SR, and some bigger nerfs even coming through over on SR. So it's kind of a... it's going to be interesting to see. I don't know, did the 20-second cooldown on the stacks go through?
It did. I have played Kassadin after his nerfs, and it's a 2100 mana cost for a 4-stack Riftwalk is it hurts.
That sounds very painful.
The biggest change is remembering that you cannot Riftwalk out of the base after a team fight that you have won. You have to wait. Plain and simple.
Yep. Alright,
We
it looks
see
like Syndra.
Riven and Lulu being locked in for Frogdong, and we have Syndra being hovered over.
Yeah, the Syndra being one of the strongest bot laners right now in Dominion. So she's a really, really good safe pick being on the first pick team. You can pick her with, the opponent not having too many options to pick into it. So it's a very good pickup there. And then it looks like we did have that Riven and Lulu pickup. That's a kind of an interesting combo there. You're not going to have someone, oh, well, the Akali can dash in and the Lulu can ult her as she goes in to knock up the whole team.
It's a very quick wombo combo that would happen with an Akali being the initiator. Everything hinges on her just going in with that Lulu. If they can't get a good, that would be their primary initiate, and Riven and Jayce's damage can just come over the top, and it's an incredible amount of burst of damage.
And then they are picking up the Yasuo. I'm going to see if this is going to head bot lane or not. Oh, and they did switch the Syndra out for Zed. Very interesting.
They were heavily lacking in the AD damage, so switching Syndra out for Zed I do think is very well advised. Zed probably going bottom, I would imagine. Irelia could also go bottom, but the other three champions generally we don't see down there too often.
Normally
we
Zyra.
Fiora a lot.
Fiora, very interesting. I don't think I've ever really seen a Fiora in tournament. So that is, oh well, I guess there's a first for everything.
Fiora is one of those champions that does very specific things well. One of the things she can do is pop a Zyra. I don't really think she can handle. Actually, she also was one of the old school back when Kassadin was extraordinarily strong counters to him. Just because if he didn't build that frozen heart, he could just instantly pop.
Yeah.
So I do think coming into this game, she's probably a decent pick to go top.
She is good to be able to get that AoE to kind of avoid all the lockdown that it's initially going to come out with the roots, with the Leona stuns flying everywhere. So if she can just ult at the right time and avoid all that, I think she's going to be completely fine to just go to town on the squishy backline.
I really do like that they are 4 threats. All of those champions do such an incredible amount of damage that you're going to have very good target focus in order to bring all of them down in an order where you do not die first.
And we are at our 3-minute mark, so we can reveal the summoner spells here. We do have quite a few flashes coming out. Still, it looks like Flash is here to stay, sadly. Daku, thank you for bringing no Flash along.
I'm surprised I see so many ignites.
Yeah, that is the other big thing. There are a lot of ignites. Normally Exhaust is the second spell you're going to take, or Exhaust is your mandatory spell to take in Dominion at this point, but there are a lot of ignites.
That's pretty correct. Currently the meta is pretty much 10 Exhaust, and your other summoner spell can be whatever you really want it to be, but Exhaust is just super strong right now. And Ignite is generally only taken the counter champions like Mundo, occasionally like Akali, because she does have her spell vamp in her passive. And any other region champion.
Yeah, that's, well, I mean, I could see it if what would Popples do took a few more extra ignites, but, it's odd to have this many when you think about what on Popples' team comp is going to, be regenning a lot. I mean, I guess the Irelia, but you don't really need 3 ignites for that. I can see using it on the Akali, if the Fiora decides to rush that Hydra, which most of them do, that would also be another great pick. But I guess we'll see.
I mean, I approve of Frogdong's option to go with Ignite since their comp is bursty. It just makes them better at what they're currently good at. But only having 1 exhaust for top, I don't agree with. I think they should have at least brought 2, because exhausting Zed when he comes in and exhausting Kassadin when he comes in is very, very important for lessening the amount of damage you take.
Yeah, that is very true. The exhaust, mainly it's there in Dominion because when you break into these skirmishes and it's, the 2v2s, exhausting the person that is blowing their ultimate, or, like if a Riven is about to win slash you, you can live through it, or just exhausters, she tries to comes in, it cuts all that damage out for a bunch of her combo. So it makes it so that your abilities are going to be a lot stronger, you're going to be able to win that trade, win that fight, and keep going. And the cooldown is relatively low, so it's very strong on Dominion. Alright, we are about to get the loading screen.
I was taking a look at a couple of the runes and masteries, and we see a lot of people opting for flat AP and flat AD coming from frogdong. I think that's really coming from SR. They used AD and AP in the laning phase and all that. But generally, when you transition over to Dominion, what you find out is that Impin and Armor Pin are much more effective at killing champions, and Flat AD and AP are much more effective at killing minions. So generally, Dominion players will opt to use Pin in all situations.
Yeah, Pen is the absolute king when it comes to Dominion. Mainly, you're scaling with levels as opposed to gold, so your levels are going to be going up really, really fast, and your base damage on your abilities is going to come into play a lot more than your ratios, because your ratios are going to be stronger when you have the gold to buy that AP or to buy that AD. But since it's more, we're going to level with levels, and that's just how we're going to do it. You got to get that pen so all your base damage is getting through. Not to mention when people are leveling up so fast, their base armor, their scaling magic resist is all going to go up, so you can essentially cut that out of the equation as well.
The other very important thing to note about Dominion is that for AP specifically, their itemization and the total amount of AP they get in the game is substantially lower than that of other game modes. And because of this, getting Impin is generally much more efficient of a purchase than trying to get an amount of AP that will be more efficient than your base damages of your champion.
Yeah, our Rabadon's, our Wooglets hat, is a mixture of Wooglets and Zhonya's, or excuse me, Rabadon's and Zhonya's, so it has a lower AP to compensate for that. And that hurts a little bit.
The thing that Wooglet's Witch Hop really does is it takes out the ability to slot 2 120 AP items in this game mode. And the other thing that's also missing from this game mode is Deathfire's Grasp. Our version is Blackfire Torch. And that is also another item that has 80 AP as opposed to 120. So 5 6-slotted item mages have around 200 less AP in this game mode than in other game modes. That's why you'll see us pick up early Void Staffs because our base damages, and use mages that have very, very high base damages like Brand and like Syndra.
Yeah, that base damage, incredibly important. And it's kind of funny, though, because still, even though that base damage is where you want to be with your casters, you still see quite a wide variety of mages that get picked up and get played, or have viability. Like, there are very few, I want to say almost zero mages in Dominion that you couldn't pick and do well with.
I would agree. I think there are a lot of different mages, but a lot of them are very, very situationally dependent.
Yeah, that does make sense. I mean, you're not going to go picking like a super squishy frontline assassin style mage into, you know, a frontline of bruisers that is just going to mess you up. Alright, and we are into the game.
We see Leona opting to go with a pretty standard tank start, Doran Shield, double Ruby Crystal, gets you a lot of bulk early game, it works very well with her W that grants armor and magic resist.
And it looks like, Akali going with Revolver. Kind of an interesting start. I don't know. What would you go with Akali? Because we don't really have like a Doran's Blade or something on this map.
I don't believe Akali should particularly ever start Revolver. I think your starting item should be either a P-Blade, a Bilgewater Cutlass, because the active early game is 150 damage at level 3, and that is absolutely insane.
That is a lot of extra damage in the early levels.
Or opting to get very early guys and starting something along the lines of Boots, Health Crystal, and Amped Tome would be the optimal start for Akali.
To kind of put into perspective how much health people actually have, Lulu is sitting on about 844. So having that Cutlass would be a huge, huge buff.
You see Irelia opting to get an early fade, so she's going to pretty much go first item Triforce, which is fairly standard. Full Prospector set coming out from frogdong.
Yeah, those Prospector items really, really good in Dominion. They're essentially the Doran's Blaze or Doran's Rings of Dominion. They give you a lot more combat stats. Really, really useful.
I am very surprised that they opted to send the Lulu into bottom lane in place of Zed. I thought the Lulu was going to be one of the more important picks for the top lane. It gives them more poke.
Yes.
It's just generally much better early game than Akali.
And looks like we're just getting that poke war going on, and yeah, it's going to be very difficult for Lulu in that bot lane there, because as soon as Zed comes in and gets that ult, it's going to be quite difficult to take down. And
he had a very, very good Zenith Blade by Impaled, followed up by the rest of the AoE combo, and they managed to take down Akali and Riven very early and pretty much guarantee that they're going to win this team fight.
Yep, I don't see any revives being popped, so it looks like they are not coming out to assist their team. Rithel should be able to finish off that kill on Jayce, and down goes the Fiora. There we go. Very nice.
They ended that going 4 for 2, fairly good for Popples. Meanwhile, in the bot lane exchange, Lulu going very, very low. Babyfister getting the good end of that fight over level perfect.
Yeah, it looks like Lulu did manage to get the kill on Zed. And she's being rude and buying a chain vest.
Chain vest and a null magic mantle on the first back. Just opting to go full tank.
Kassadin letting Riven cap that a little long there.
Slog HP getting back up to the top point very, very quickly is able to take over half of the point. And the minion wave will probably be able to get the neutral as we see Shadow Destiny coming up, getting the poke down.
Yeah, there's a lot of minions if they're not taken care of. They are going to be able to take it, but the rest of the team is coming up to reinforce here.
Impelled losing a lot of health before his team gets there. We see Zyra trying to put down the damage, but I don't think they should have took this fight before hitting level 6.
Zyra is level 6 as well as Leona. Are they going to be able to 2v3 this? I don't know. Leona is very low. They're going to have to do some very good swapping here.
We saw Rithel opting to pop one of the revives to see if she can get back up here in time. And we have Fat Wiener doing what Zyra does best, which is stalling on the point with a lot of plants.
Oh, very nicely done. That's 3 low people, and there is a fully healed Irelia ready to rock everything. And down they go. Very nicely done. They're holding off that top point.
Very good choice for one person on Popples' team to pop revive to come up to clean the rest of that. Nobody else really needed to do so.
Yeah, it was 3 low members. Anyone could have popped revive and been up there to finish it off. So very good play by them, saving those revives, stockpiling them for when they really need it.
Oh, Babyfister might be going down here in the bottom lane, just simple harass and then walk too close trying to beat for the Kassadin and end up dying.
Yep, I don't know if Kassadin is going to be able to do this. That is a bulky-ish Lulu. I'm very curious now if that Lulu is running like full defensive masteries as well. Because she is taking no damage and just laughing. Oh, Daku.
I would think she's running attack speed mastery. She's attacking very, very, very quickly.
No, she might have the attack speed and runes there to be bulky and just get off as many autos. But Rithel coming down, cleaning up the fight. They are going to lose top off of this. But let's see if they can pressure bot lane and maybe get a revive out of the Lulu. And it does get popped. So if they do get that, are they going to be able to neutralize it?
I think it was very bad. If you're going to end up popping your revive, you should pop it immediately so that you don't have a neutral.
Yeah, if you wait too long, then you're going to end up losing the point there. Granted, you can get some extra gold out of it, but that could have been a worse situation if Zed were right there to follow up on it.
So now we see Impaled over here. He has picked up the Storm buff, and his ult is up, so he's definitely going to be looking for an engage as we have Rithel on low health, is going to get the stun on Pickle Cobbler. We have Dakukoi coming in, whipping the Kassadin, and we have Fiora ult going up, but she is going to go down first. Bug P is going to come in and get the kill and the shutdown on Irelia, and then try to retreat back to the turret, blowing Ignite on the Leona. Meanwhile, Shadow Destiny on the side is going to take out Zyra as we see everybody go low, and the Riven getting a double kill. It looks like he's going to be able to clean up the rest of this fight.
Yeah, that is going to be an ace top lane there. That was a very split team fight. I feel like if Zyra would have been with the team right there, they could have had that pretty easily, but it just didn't work out for him.
That was a fairly easy 4-for-1. This is what happens when you run an AoE comp and you have a Kassadin that's not very, very good in the early game. You're pretty much relying on the Zyra to murder 4 people by herself, as the Irelia also is a very item-dependent champion. And when you split up the fight and you have all of these brawlers and duelists, you're just going to get dismantled.
Yeah, when you're running that team fight comp, you've got to stick together as a team. You can't try to duel those bruisers 1v1. But looks like Zed having a really hard time against this attack speed tank Lulu. This is a very interesting build here.
This is one of the issues of itemizations of his build. He is going for a Bork, and Bork in this game mode is generally not the best item purchase. You, for the most part, will always want to get Last Whisper before you get Blade of the Ruined King, and you're never going to be able to lifesteal without getting harassed for the amount of damage that you would get back anyway in a lane versus Lulu.
So yeah, lifesteal isn't too much worth it. Lifesteal is a bit better when you can trade evenly already and you just want to gain a smaller advantage. When you're really far behind. You're better off just trying to get that extra damage, especially since Zed will scale so late into the game, and
we saw Creative Death getting initiated on, but he just ended up turning it completely around on the FL as they were posturing in the top side of the jungle.
Yeah, they were looking. They had the good fight going, and then as soon as Jayce showed up, that was a dead Irelia, and looks like to be getting a little cut out again. They did manage to take down the Akali, but now there is nothing to keep this Fiora off of Zyra. Is she gonna live? But she will take her with her.
Rafael ended up popping pretty much what I would call a rage revive. As you can see, there's no revives left, and wanted to make some use out of it, so they ended up taking that fight after they had initially lost her and the Leona. It went fairly well. For popping the revive, they're going to get a decent amount of pressure onto the top side point, but overall I don't think that was worth it.
No, you got to be very careful about the rage revives. Like, even if you know a team fight is coming back out, I think if he would have popped the revive and then not initially died as he ran back out again, it could have been very well worth it, but since he died again, now he's got to clean up the point here, and Impaled is going to get taken down.
A very wasteful flash. And we get to see the rest of the very, very quick frogdong team cleaning up the remaining members.
Yeah, very nicely done. You got that good power, good assassin front line, just running with it and doing well. And the funny thing is, it's all the squishy bruisers up top as well. We predicted the Lulu to be top lane with them to keep them safe and keep them going, but they're doing fine on their own. And Babyfists are getting ganked here by Akali. That is going to be one dead Zed.
I do believe they'll both be able to get out of here.
No, they are turning onto the Irelia. But
they tried to stick around because Pickle was making a very good rotation to the bottom lane, but now he's going to walk into an Irelia, which is very ill-advised if he just gets turned upon and dies instantaneously.
Yep, he did have his ultimate, but he got stunned as he was walking into the bush, so that did not matter. And he is going to pop his revive.
Do not mess with Equilibrium Strike. When the Irelia has less health than you, that stun lasts for 2 seconds at rank 5. You really do not want to play too many games with that ability.
Yeah, 2 seconds of being stuck, standing still, and letting Irelia just womp on you is very, very deadly. It may not seem like much, but when you're sitting there playing against an Irelia, it turns into an eternity.
Red team has captured the boneyard.
And now we just really don't see frogdong letting up. They're showing their presence in the lane, making sure to always poke Fat Wiener and Impaled down as they're just trying to keep the minions from assaulting their quest point. And they just overall have the entire map covered. Even though there are no wards in this map, you know, you can keep vision with your face. And there are a couple vision items that can give you a decent amount, but you know, as long as you have that jungle pressure, it's very, very important.
Yeah, as long as you're getting the good vantage points, making sure you're sitting in the right bushes, it's very strong. And oh, they're going to go in, and this is a mistake. This is 4 bot right now. That lane pressure coming from only the Jayce, just keeping what would Popples do in line. They just really don't want to do anything. Daku going in saying, guys, we need to make this happen now. We're about to lose our bot point, so let's go. Leona coming out is going to be able to hit him, and oh, Jayce is going to be able to take down Kassadin in the process, but they are going to be trying to get this. But in the meantime, bot being taken out, and now they're working their way up to mid.
You know, Pickle and Sapi are going to rotate up. Everybody's going to come off of their revive out of the base, and they're already there with all 4 of their members. To at least put up a fight against 5, we see Level Perfect slowing them down, and they're slowly rotating back as they try to get a good way to initiate on this fight, but having Riven blow over Q to go in is not the best idea. Q goes down as the Zyra ult is just blown, and the chase is going to be on. We'll probably lose at least 2, if not 3 members from this, as we see Impale making the rotation down, going to catch out Creed of Death.
Ooh, very nice Zenith played there. Probably going to be able to pick up the kill on this Akali very easily. Nicely done. Now they need to get their bot point back, and they need to establish that jungle control. If they can just get their positioning on the map right now, they will be in charge. And Rafael going ham, flashing onto the Jayce to get the stun off. And I think they are going to be able to take him down. He does have a revive. They need to be very careful about him using that, and he did.
This is just a clear overextension by frogdong. If you see they're still using her, they opted to pop all 3 of their revives to try to defend this mid point, fighting 3v4, and they're slowly getting kited. But not too much damage going out. We have Rafael gonna go try to get Pickle Cobbler. We have Daku who's gonna go back in. Fiora can blow her up, but she is gonna fall. Rafael's also gonna go down. Daku getting initiated upon when the level perfect gets back, and We're gonna take out the majority of Popples members as we see Akali trying to greed for the kill on Fat Wiener over at their midpoint.
Even flashing. I don't know if that is even worth the flash there. Everyone else is going to be up in 7 seconds. You're not going to be able to do very much.
What's very important to note is the kill did put Fat Wiener on a 24-second cooldown death timer.
Yes. So Fat Wiener is stuck being dead a lot longer because there are respawn waves in Dominion. If you die around the same time as someone else, you'll come back at the same time as them. So, oh, did we lose connection?
I do believe that the servers are being quite bad right now as we see Impaled initiating on Shadow Destiny with Dr. Corey, and it looks like they're going to try to turn it onto the Kassadin, but it's just not going to happen. As
Kassadin has hit that late game.
Daku has finally hit his power spike with his fully stacked Rod of Ages along with Void Step and Sorcery Shoes. Just an incredible amount of flat base damage coming out from him right now. So we probably see him pick up some cooldown reduction next. We have Baby Fister trying to get a solo kill out in the jungle on Pickled Cobbler, but he's just going to get picked off.
Yeah, he did go for that Blade of the King instead of the Last Whisper. The thing with the Blade of the King is a lot of its damage does come from its active, so if you build that Last Whisper instead, you deal a little bit more, or a lot more damage, and you don't have to worry about that active either. So
also, if you're going to buy Blade of the Ruined King, you should, remember to use it.
That is also important too.
We see a fight breaking out over top of the top lane turret, and we have frogdong team just taking a lot of damage. The spell coming in here, and frogdong being very good at target focus, going on whatever they can get a piece of, but I don't believe they're going to win this. As we see Impale's going to come back up, it's going to drop all on Pickled Cobbler in the turn. Oh, but Pickled Cobbler very good with the bait, still had all stuff, and they're going to clean up a double kill.
Excellent job, they did manage to take that down. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, oh, Lulu getting sniped by that passive. And that Jayce, oh, that Jayce is so scary. Oh, and the Ignite coming out! Wow, we are at a complete standstill. The Rage Revives are being popped right now. I think that Akali only had 2 seconds on her timer. I did not quite see it. But if she did get the full timer, that was an excellent use of Revive, because all of the rest of her team was coming up within the second. So, very nicely done there.
Yeah, level perfect popping Revive to make sure he gets Relic control. This is very, very interesting, but with Shadow Destiny backing him up, they're going to take this fight over in their jungle, and they're going to manage to pick up Rafael before Impel managed to get there. They're going to put a lot of focus down on Daku, and he's going to go low and he's going to go down because his Lulu has a ton of attack speed.
This tank attack speed Lulu is something to be feared. We know that power of Wit's End all too well, and seeing it on a Lulu with Nashers is kind of scary.
And now we have Impel just walking a little bit too far, but Fat Wiener with pretty good positioning, he might be able to win this fight.
Yep, that proc from Leona is going to be able to finish that off, and very nice route to take out the Akali. So they are going to be able to get up to that top point. Kassadin sitting in the bot lane. See if he can do something to this Riven here. Oh, he might have damage if he's got a Rift Walk, but if he tries to Rift Walk in on this, he is going to run into a Jayce. He is just going to save it to run away and fight another day.
We see Daku opting to go with an old school Kassadin build. Just going 10 into Mana Tank. He's going to pick up probably a Frozen Heart or a Frozen Fist, maybe with the new Kassadin because the W is still very strong.
That on hit is a very, very good proc.
We do see him just biding his time, hoping that Shadow Destiny decides to come off this point because they don't want to fully commit to a tower dive.
Especially against a Jayce, if you don't have the damage there, it will be very scary. He's going to have a tower backing him up. Lulu getting a little too close to the point there is going to get caught out. And down goes the Jayce. Fiora is going to be there to try to clean it up, though.
It's going to go in on the Daku. Daku probably going to opt to get away. Right now, we should see Popples pressuring because they would have a 3v2 advantage over at the opposing team's mid, but they're just biding their time. They're holding 3 points. They're content with what they're currently doing. As we see Rafael rotating with Pickled Cobbler, and he finds himself in the middle of 2 very high damaging champions, but they're going to opt to not fight the Irelia on the point. They're just going to decide to back off because they know the rest of the team is behind them.
Yeah, really, it does have a Randuin's finish, so she could opt to just kind of take out the Akali and then not worry too much about the Irelia till teammates arrived, but probably better just to not fight that.
Around top lane, we do have Impale catching out level perfect, getting a very, very efficient trade, and we see Created Dash coming around the backside of the point. Woo! That was very, very early movement from Fat Wiener and keeping off if she wished that she had that before, but they're going to opt to dive a Zyra on a point, and this is why Zyra is the second best mage in Dominion, because you do not do what you just witnessed. You never dive a Zyra on a point. It does far too much damage, especially with the tank and the rest of the team there.
You
Completely
do
destroyed
not want to mess with that. You had the Leona throwing out the procs everywhere, and then the Zyra ult just knocking you up. You're all snared, you can't do anything, and you're eating tower damage. It's just not a good idea. There are very few things that you actually want to dive in Dominion. Zyra is one of those.
And you definitely don't want to do it with the Leona standing point.
Yeah, because then as soon as you take care of her, you've got to take care of the Leona, which you already burned everything to take out the Zyra. You're not going to have much to deal with that Leona sitting on a point.
Red team has captured the drill.
So right now we see all the builds running out. We have Akali still not opting to get a voice staff. Looks like she's going to opt to go for a Lich Bane. There's not the greatest amount of MR on the opposing team. We have Daku sporting a lot of armor, finally picked up a Negatron, but the MR is slowly coming out. Everybody's picking up the Negatrons. We have Impaled up in the front, tanking with the Leona ult, but he's just taking a lot of damage, and as you see, they all try to focus Rafael. Rafael is going to go down, but, you know, with the good target focus coming out from Popples, and whew, the rude Zyra ult for the quadric kill.
Dang.
They are just butting their face into the Zyra at the top lane, and this is what we talk about. This is why Zyra is so very good. It's because she forces you to pretty much play guerrilla warfare in late game, because you never want to attack a point that a Zyra has under her control.
Yeah.
Daku rip walking into level perfect with no mana with those Kassadin changes, and he's just going to lose so much of his health, he might even just go down.
This Lulu with attack speed is so scary. Oh, the flash!
Daku not realizing that with the 20-second Kassadin changes, he had no mana coming out of the base, and he rift walked, and he still had that 2100 mana cost ability, and we see level perfect just taking a bunch of Popples team's time as he walks around the entire portion of the map.
Yeah, that tank Lulu doing some work, pulling a lot of aggro away from his side of the base, so that way the enemies, they're forced to come back, they need to take care of it, and this will give them a chance to try and get their points back. Fiora is going to go for top, it looks like bot is going to go down.
Babyfish is biting off a little more than he can chew, wanted to fight with Created Death when he did not have his ult up, and we see Rafael coming in here trying to fight Jayce+Akali. I don't know if that's too advised right now by yourself. We have Daku coming in for the backup as we see frogdong team is going to take control of the windmill.
Yeah, it is looking pretty close here. Really, I think what frogdong needs to do is they need to look for these picks. They're playing the assassins and the bruisers. They don't want that full-on team fight. And they keep trying to do that, and it's biting them. They keep dying on the points, they're trying to die with Zyra. They need to just get, like, up here top. They're getting this really good 1v2. Let's see if they can get anything out of it.
Oh, this is a perfect Lulu coming out from Fat Wiener, and then the Solar Flare to come down from Impale right after the Lulu was a very perfect setup. They've been just 2Ving the world up here. They've always been going from mid to top lane, making sure that that is their area, and they are going to have it under control.
Oh, Jayce is going to go down to that death mark. Very nice
We
play.
see the Twin Shadows going out, and we find Created Death and Level Perfect in an incredibly terrible predicament. Created Death is going to opt to try to get Fat Wiener on the backside, and Fat Wiener is going to go down because Zyra's very squishy and immobile. But we see Daku is going to come around and make sure he gets the revenge kill.
And they were not able to take out Lulu. She managed to run back totally fine.
And this is looking pretty bad for frogdong as we have a 4 cap with only 57 points. We're coming down to the wire, and we see Rafael is going to manage to get a kill on Slug HP at their midpoint, and we might end this game with a 5 cap, depending on how if Popples wants to rotate the bot.
Yeah, we will see. Also, Riven still does have 2 more revives and has not used them at all.
You know, some people come from other game modes and they don't even know what the trinket does when they come to Dominion. This might just be bad communication, but we do see another fight going out. Phillips are going to go down. Level Perfect getting heavily focused. Zyra is going to catch all 3 members with the damage. In fact, Wiener might come down off at the end of this. No, the stun from Impaled, and down goes Creative Death.
And I think that might actually be it for frogdong. The bot lane point is going to get capped. Oh, maybe not. Maybe Zed is going down. Can he pull this off? No, he can't. But yeah, that is going to be the game there. Very well played from both teams.
109-0 in favor of what would Popples do over frogdong in this first round of the Azubu Crystal Cup.
So very nicely done. That was a good match. All right, and you know, I think we're actually going to follow what would Popples do throughout most of the tournament. So it is probably going to be them next versus Killing Dominion since 2011. So we are going to take a short commercial break after we talk about our stats here, of course, and then we'll get into that next game. But let's check out the damage graph. I just gotta see it. And that Zyra, bringing it out, and bringing it heavy. Almost 40k damage. That is insane. Then Kassadin bringing it up with 30. Jayce sitting at the 34. Akali actually only at 20k. It's kind of low for an Akali. Same with the Riven. You know, when you have like squishy things or stuff you can jump into with AoE and get that stun out. Maybe it was the builds? No? Builds?
It was the builds. The play from the Riven and the Akali weren't bad. They had very good target focus. It's just that the adaptation that needed to be made was Blackfire Torch should have been built on Akali instead of Woolitz and Lichbane, and she should have also opted to have a Void Staff. Riven should have opted to go for an earlier Hydra and Black Reaver, as those are her core items in the minion. They make her have the AoE armor pen shred so that the Jayce can deal more damage from the backline, and the Akali doing hybrid damage in the Fiora. Without having that Black Fever, the Leona could just sit on the front line with a Randuin's and a Sunfire Cape and an extra Warden's Mail along with Ninja Tablet and just be alive forever and apply all of her Sunlight stacks.
Yeah, if the Riven would have picked up that Cleaver, I think it would have really helped, especially with them running the triple AD top lane. It would have increased the Fiora and Jayce's damage. Maybe that Fiora ult would have gotten a little bit more through if the shred was there. But, alright, let's get into a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with game number 2, or round 2, I should say, of the Azubu Crystal Cup.